Hello and welcome to this episode of Newscast. I'm Lewis Foster, a journalist in the Manx Radio newsroom. This morning on Manx Radio Breakfast, Chief Minister Alfred Cannan spoke live from Jersey, where the latest British-Irish Council meeting is being held. The jurisdictions there are discussing a focus on green and affordable building practices. Mr Cannan gave Sian Cowper an insight into the discussions and, whilst he was at it, revealed some new plans from the Council of Ministers.
It's an issue that's impacting us all, and we've all got issues to tackle around delivery of affordable housing, meeting the housing needs within our communities, but also doing so in such a way that we can also deliver on our energy efficiency commitments and our decarbonisation programmes. So it is a big issue, and the purpose of these meetings is both to discuss the challenges that are facing us all, but learning how different jurisdictions are proposing to tackle those, and also looking at some specific examples that are already underway. So we will this morning visit one of the Jersey programmes that's underway, a housing development that they've got, which is delivering innovative housing and sustainable building, both materials and also design. So we'll get. This work has actually been going on behind the scenes with the British-Irish Council and counterparts anyway. The Public Housing and Estates Division has previously been engaging in this area. So it all helps us consolidate our thinking, but also formulate our plans in terms of housing delivery on the island for the future.
Now, you mentioned there learning how different jurisdictions work and visiting some of the Jersey programmes later on today. But I see from your Twitter feed you have already met with a housing association in Jersey. What can you tell us about that meeting?
Well, so we know that, on the Isle of Man, there's considerable political will to move the housing agenda forward on the island. So I can confirm to you that the Council of Ministers have recently asked the DOI Minister to draw up high-level feasibility study as to the benefits of creating a housing association and how this might be implemented. And we're expecting to hear back from him in the early autumn, and then we will take it forward from that point. But we've already done some investigation work. It was actually outlined in the Housing and Communities Board's plans that they were going to have a look at housing or different delivery models, housing associations being one. But Andiam Homes in Jersey, and indeed these types of models across the UK, are delivering significant benefits for their customers, for their tenants, and indeed because of the way they're structured, they can deal with more than just social housing needs, but they can deliver a greater range of affordable housing and put it into different formats. So it doesn't just have to be for rent, it can also be for purchase as well. And the other, I think the critical point, the interesting point from a Council of Ministers perspective, it brings a greater focus potentially for housing delivery. And if you can create the right organisation with the right scale, it also gives that organisation the opportunity to step perhaps outside the sort of traditional public funding models and look at greater opportunities for fundraising, which it can put back into developing the appropriate housing for the community. So there's lots of potential there. Andiam Homes is Jersey's model, and that's been developed, well, for the last decade or so. It was planned well before that in the early 2000s, started in 2014, and actually they really do seem to have a lot of success now in terms of meeting some of the housing needs, although of course Jersey equally has its significant challenges around affordability, but also space as well as in terms of where they actually put the housing.
Well, you talked there about this being Jersey's model. We know the Isle of Man very proud of its identity, being an independent jurisdiction. How do you know that something that works in Jersey is going to work on the Isle of Man?
Well, that's why we've asked for a feasibility study, first of all. So we need to make sure it does work. And of course, we have quite a complex model on the island in that the government has about 1,200 of the sort of 6,500 or so homes, and the rest are, of course, across the local authorities. So it's not necessarily straightforward. So one, we have to do that feasibility study, and then we have to understand how we would look to take it forward. And it's not just Jersey. You can clearly see that many of these housing associations across our neighbours in the United Kingdom are working very, very effectively to deliver better quality homes, and really, meeting the needs of the community, but also having that ability to perhaps operate more fluidly and more flexibly, perhaps just outside the public sector. So listen, I mean, at this stage, it's still early. The Housing and Communities Board that we set up has delivered strong foundations. I think Council and Minister's perspective is that we still need to look at how we could drive the housing agenda forward. And of course, visiting people like Andy is part of that learning process, but we'll wait to see what the feasibility study says.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Little Manx Radio newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.